Hello, this is Adam. I'm going to explain how to create a better event list. So the first idea, since event list never supported paging, even though the properties would hint on that, this was never implemented. The first idea I've had was to create a page list to replace event list, since this is the only component the paging works with. But in the process, I've basically figured out that it's not going to satisfy all of the criteria because it doesn't support proper sorting. And even if it did, it would still be slower because it needs to load all the items to actually do the sorting. And it doesn't support any kind of filtering. So in this video, I will show you how to create a better event list based on SXA search. So first, to make events searchable, they actually need to be based on a searchable template. So in my SXA site, I've got the calendar event, which I inherited properly from the searchable template, but this needs to be done for all your events, and preferably it needs to create the folders and event lists so that you have a convenient data source. So for this, I have created a quick script which I will attach, and for the script to run for your solution, you need to customize the paths. You need to provide it with your tenant folder, and you need to provide the path to your site where you want to replace that. The script is done in a way that it is safe to execute it multiple times. So if you have multiple sites that you need to do it with, or multiple tenants, you can run it multiple times by customizing those values. So what does this script do? At first, it finds the searchable template. It asserts that the template is created, basically copied the calendar event list, and event folder underneath your template, and that the proper data source that inherits all of the properties of the out-of-the-box data source item template is also there. This is this function. I'm not going to go deep into it. It basically copies the template to your folder, to your project folder, and copies an item, creates standard values, and then when you for the calendar event, it additionally adds the searchable to make the events accessible to SXA search. And then I set on standard values, I add a proper insert option so that you can conveniently insert the inherited template instead of the base template. And then what's the last thing? It goes into your site and replaces the templates, the out-of-the-box SXA templates, with the templates that we have just created. So the effect of the execution of the script is in your project folder. You've got the calendar event folder, and event list templates configured properly, and then in your website you've got your data templates replaced to be using your project templates. Okay, so we've got the items that are searchable now. What we need to do then? We need to include the events in data sources that are actually searchable. So for this, we need to go to the settings, and in the search criteria section, you have associated content. This is the additional content on top of pages that will be accessible to search. Now, further, you need to configure the scope so that you can limit particular search to only events. For this, I have created an event scope, which basically says, okay, I only want items that are of template calendar event. Now, that's good. That allows us to search those items now. But I actually wanted to do more since we're building a better event list. So I want to be able to facet this and slice and dice those results based on event date and event place. Those are fields that are already on events out of the box. So I've got my place, event place field, and I've got the start date. The field name is called event start. Now, to configure those facets, I need to go again to the settings, and underneath facets, I am creating an event date facet that is of type date facet. And I type the name event start, which is the name of the field, all lower caps, and the field name and the name being the same as the field name. And again, the same with the place. Actually, from what I see, oh yeah, there we go. It is event place and event place. So I've got my facets. Now I can slice and dice the results. And well, the whole starting point for this was to be able to page our results. So for this, I need to create the paging configuration. So I go to the data sources, underneath search, and I should have paging, page size, and in the default I've created, since I don't have many events, I've created a very small page 2, but then 8, 16 and 32 progressively, so I can have more of them available on the page. And then the last thing, not the last thing, but the presentation for this. Events, both events and search result support rendering variance. So rendering variance is configured for the event list, and if you have been using event list, you already have this this variant. What I did, I basically took the default event list variant and copied it to my search result variants, and I renamed it to event list. And actually, to avoid styling it, I've added this event list class so that my styling basically are being used, my event list styling are basically being used for this component when it's being used on the page. This styling isn't pretty on my solution, but you will see that that it works. And then the last thing I did is I've created the filters to be able to actually slice the results on the page. And configured sorting. So for sorting, I have in my search, no, this is rendering variant, in my data, underneath search, I have sort results, and for events I have created a special data source where I'm ordering, where I want to specify that I want to order them from the latest to the oldest, or the other way around. So I pick the facet event date, which I've just configured, and I specify the direction. The title is what will be displayed for on the page in the dropdown. Now on my event list, let's see on the page how I configured that. I've dropped a page size component, and I specified, actually this is 1.4 way and 1.3 way. I've specified the default page size. I've specified actually the data source doesn't appear to be there. The paging schema, sorry, is being used for that. And I use the default paging schema, which is page size, and it's the default one. And that allows me to have those multiple pages selected, and that I can steer the number of results. And then I've got my sorting, which is specified using the data source. So I've used my event search results. On my search results, I have again the data source showing the texts like this, something went wrong, and I've specified the event list. This is the variant that I copied from event list. And what else do I have? I have the search scope that narrows only to show the events, the default page size that will be overloaded by overridden by this page size component, and the default sort order. I can pick from the global sort order, but it will be overridden by this guy. But if you didn't add this guy to the page, you can pick the default sort order in the search results. And then my filters. The filters allow me to pick the facet for which the filter is going to be working. I can specify the filter messages, and let me see if there's something that I configured here. Well, the date format is something that you can adjust, and that would be it. On the venue, I use the checklist filter. And what does this guy have? I've actually left the default stuff here. However, in my data source, which is configured through here, I've specified that I want to display the places facet, and I want to name it venue, and pretty much the rest is default. So let's preview what we have. Let's save that first. I'm not sure what I've changed, but let's save it. And you can see now that my paging triggered to have only 2 elements, but I can have 8, and I actually don't have more events, so it's not going to show. But let's just see that the date sorting is working. So I'm showing the latest first, and let's show the oldest first, and the sorting is done based on the from date facet. I can filter, and what else is, I can say that despite I'm showing 16 results, I only want to show the results since, let's say, 2007. Okay, so there is only 2 results that happened recently, and those are bogus dates. First power of flight was much earlier. And that is pretty much it. It's just faster, it is more robust, it is dynamic, which with all of those slicing and dicing on the facets, that wouldn't be possible on the event list. I hope this makes for a better event list for you guys.